Hello everyone, I'm Sumant Gorjala. I'm Director of Product Management. Today I'm here to introduce you to one of our newest and much awaited feature, which is adding FortiGuard services at the wireless edge with Fortinet's FortiAPU wireless Wi-Fi 6 11AX series access points. So in terms of today, we'll talk about security at the edge, which is at the wireless edge on an access layer before even it hits the wire. During our MFD5 last year, Ben gave a brief intro about security at the edge, which is extending our FortiGuard services to the last mile. There are many scenarios where it is optimal to have a security performed at least at some level on the AP by itself before it even traverses to the wire segment. The teleworker, remote working has become a new norm, and we see a major shift in the enterprise business to accommodate such needs. Fortinet is now enabling UTP, which is the Unified Threat Protection Services, running directly on our U series of APs. So the Unified Threat Protection module on FortiAP series will have all the modules listed like web application filtering, intrusion prevention system, anti-botnet, application control, and antivirus, which are so the entire FortiAPU series will be tightly coupled with FortiGuard, meaning it is coupled into security-driven networking, which is to deliver enterprise-grade protection and user experience across all our networking edges. So, as a note, our FortiAPU series supports high-end security and other features that are not available on our standard FortiAP series. So, as we talked about, this is driven by FortiGuard Labs, and the subscription here is per AP per year subscription, and it can be used on both our architectures. So, what is the need for UTP at the customer edge? So, this is what Chris was mentioning, and quite a bit will answer some of the least questions. So here I'll take you through some of the topology here. If you see, there is FortiLAN Cloud, which is our cloud managed deployment, and it is a platform offering zero touch deployment, configuration management, and analytics for standalone APs and switches as a deployment. And we also have a FortiGate, which is placed on an enterprise corporate network. So that is the FortiGate we are talking about in the corporate network. When in a typical deployment, branch versus retail, so if it is a site-to-site between branch and the enterprise corporate, there is always IPsec VPN, or if you want the data traffic to go tunnel to the enterprise, then you always can use the FortiGate firewalls, which is our existing firewall mechanism. But if there are scenarios where you want to add the security at the edge before it is hitting the wire. Okay, in these complex situations where you need to protect the intellectual property while you are connected with the remote offices, there are SSIDs which you want to bridge, which needs to bypass the firewall and go directly to the internet. In such cases, we might need to add unified threat protection to all the 40 APs, where it will be an additional secure deployment model from the Fortinet architecture. Because it is driven by FortiGuard Labs, it is all feeds back into our intelligence and tightly coupled into our intelligence. So let's see our FortiGuard services. What does it mean backed by a FortiGuard services? FortiAPU series is now added to the full list of Fortinet products that are protected and backed by FortiGuard services. The FortiGuard Labs, which is our threat intelligence and research organization at Fortinet, develops, innovates, and maintains one of the most recognized and seasoned AI/ML system in the industry. We use this to deliver proven, unparalleled protection, visibility, and business continuity across the fabric, protecting our customers against a wide range of ever-changing, sophisticated threats. So the FortiGuard services, we have threat intelligence sharing mechanism between the telcos, other third parties, which we fine tune, and also we do have a FortiCare system which is tightly coupled with FortiGuard services, and the FortiAPU will receive updates from FortiGuard Services, the signature set, everything keeps updated on a scheduled basis. In terms of Unified Threat Protection Module, what have we added into FortiAPU? We have added many of these which we've talked about. The first one being the antivirus, which delivers an automated update that protects against latest viruses, spyware, and content level threats. It's an industry leading advanced detection engine to prevent both new and evolving threats. The next one is our IPS engine, which is the latest defense against network intrusion by detecting and blocking threats before even it reaches your network devices. It consists of a comprehensive IPS library with thousands of signatures, flexible policies which you can enable, have full control of detection to suit your security needs. And application control is another one where you want to quickly create policies to allow, deny, or restrict access to a specific application based on the corporate needs. Web application filtering, which is our automated web application filter signature set. We have close to around 6,000 to 8,000 plus signatures, which we support on a wireless FortiAPU devices, which protects against SQL injection, cross-site scripting, various other attacks. We have vulnerability scans, signatures, and other data types which you can protect from suspicious URLs, etc. And the last one, the anti-botnet, which prevents botnet and other threats from communicating with command and control servers. And it protects against malicious sources associated with web attacks, phishing activity, and more. So these are all the modules which are already integrated into a FortiAPU model. So Chris has given a brief about Fortigate, which is our firewall, next generation firewall, Fortigate network firewall models. And we do have wireless controller being inbuilt part of the Fortigate firewall. So in the FortiAPU being managed can be supported on multiple architectures. We will first go through the FortiGate architecture and then move on to the FortiLAN Cloud architecture. And I'll show you the differences between how it is configured, how it's applied. So if you see here on the left tab, the SSID, which is under the Wi-Fi and switch control module, which is a built-in module on our FortiGate firewall. This is where you enable the UTM feature or UTP, which is Unified Threat Management or Protection. And once you enable the feature, you have a list of the modules where you can select the profiling. So it can be an AV profile, it can be an IPS profile, it can be application control. So these are predefined for wireless. Once you apply them, you have a SSID with all the lists mentioned, and you apply it to the FortiAP through a FortiAP profile. So getting little detail into the profiles, these are the firewall security profiles where you have tabs for each of them: antivirus, web filter, application control, all these where you can have and use the default profiles provided for Wi-Fi, or you can create your own profile to suit your needs and then add signature set, etc. So here is an example of application sensor. We do have all the categories which are predefined. You can also create your own categories based on the requirement and put it to your application sensor, and also change the action like allow, monitor, accept or reject, etc.
So, quick question on the wireless controller functionality when built in: is there feature parity between it running in this platform versus running in any other platform, or are you giving up some features or whatever as you're running the embedded version?
So on both the architectures, the feature is almost the same. We don't have much variation. The only difference is because on the FortiGate firewall, we do have a large signature set, like around 17,000 signatures on some of these modules with IPS signature. It becomes really heavy to push it on to the FortiAPU. So we have a lighter version of the IPS engine running on a FortiAPU when it is connected to a cloud managed version.
But as far as wireless control plane functionality, there's no discrepancy or no differences as far as features are concerned.
No. It's pretty much the same between the two architectures.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Does that mean that your wireless LAN controller is disappearing and is just being replaced by the FortiGates, or?
No, it doesn't mean. As we looked at multiple architectures, it is how we want to give a solution to the end customer. There are scenarios where the end customer might want to delay the procedure, or he wants to do a cloud managed solution. So in those cases, we want to provide them with the full set of solution, and also in cases where they want to do site to site or FortiGate firewall, where they have the capacity to install a FortiGate firewall on the end premises, then we do have such solutions.
And just to clarify, if you are doing cloud controlled, you are going to miss out on some of those signatures.
Yeah, the signature set is fully available with the FortiGate because it is fully done on the FortiGate. But when you're having an option to push it to the FortiAPU, you don't want it to be overweighing your data traffic. So it will be a lighter version of signature set, which will be pushed to a FortiAPU.
What do these devices sit as far as FIPS compliance, sir? I know I was doing some research a while ago and saw that some of your devices are FIPS compliant, but only in certain situations. Can you expand a bit on that?
So in terms of FortiGate, I believe it is FIPS compliant, but in terms of wireless access points, we are working towards it on FIPS compliance with FortiAPU series and FortiAP series.
I had a quick question. When you look at this and the signatures that are on it, does it make sense to deploy this in a work from home environment, or is this more for the office environment?
So here you have a remote location. It can also be a working from home teleworker, where you don't have the need for the firewall. If you don't have the firewall, you're just having a router. Then in such deployments, you have FortiAPU managed by a cloud, so that you have FortiAPU doing your all the application control and unified threat protection, which you want on a remote location.
There's in the I think in the wireless industry as a whole, there seems to be a trend moving towards sort of controller-less environments and the cloud, which obviously you have the cloud solution. But from hearing you, it seems like you still see a lot of potential on having some sort of physical controller on site. Would that be fair? And what do you and would you say that is you're sticking yourselves out there at saying actually there's advantages to having a physical box on site, especially from a security point of view?
So it is always advantageous, because you're also protecting the LAN cloud. The LAN network, like within a remote location. Having a firewall will exponentially increase your security enhancements. Like you can, as I explained earlier, if you're connecting to a corporate, instead of making it a specific network going to corporate, like a tunnel traffic and stuff, you can always do a site-to-site VPN if needed. And you can also bypass some of the traffics by doing a split tunneling concept on a wireless, where some of the traffic goes to the corporate, some of the traffic is bypassed across via internet. But all these can be done with a firewall managed on the remote premises or without a firewall. In both the scenarios, we do have offerings. But to answer your question, yeah, I think having a firewall on the premises will give an additional edge.
If I can just, if it's all right with you, Peter, if I can just answer a little bit of that. Absolutely, we definitely see a lot of potential and ongoing business for on-site appliances. And I think some of that is also to do with simplicity and complexity of networks. With an on-premise device, you can simply tunnel everything to that device, and you can create layer 2 almost directly to the edge, so to speak. When you're bridging everything, there can be often complex VLAN configuration, need for layer 3 roaming, all of these extra things, which everybody has, but they take setting up. Some customers that we have, a lot of customers often look for a simplistic, let's tunnel it all to the center. We can deal with it. We can apply all the policies and put all of that in one place. So to answer your question from a customer perspective, absolutely, we're seeing a tremendous amount of uptake of even the FortiGate being used solely as a wireless controller. In fact, there's a lot of customers who have done refreshes from the WLC products that we used to have, and they've replaced it with FortiGate, acting only as a wireless controller because they like the powerful and integrated approach that it has, without trying to sound too salesy for a moment. But yeah, we absolutely see on-site appliances and the flexibility that architecture gives you, and the ability for customers to move from cloud to on-premise to cloud, because one architecture doesn't fit every scenario that's out there for different customer scenarios. And that's one of the cool things that we have, is that we have the flexibility in the different architectures.
Yeah, and Ben, I want to dovetail off something you just said, because one interesting thing about that is, I think we think a lot about a box when we talk about a firewall, but we have seen people installing firewalls virtually, because we do have VM versions of FortiGates. And I can think of at least one very large customer, Ben probably knows who I'm thinking of, who they centralized everything with a couple of virtual FortiGates, and they had distributed FortiAPs reporting back to that. So it does not necessarily mean that FortiGate has to be a physical box that has to be right at the site that AP is plugged into. But we certainly see FortiGates not going away. Now, what form that FortiGate takes may be different depending on what you need. And I think Ben did a really good job of covering all the different ways of looking at that. But we don't see next generation firewalls going away anytime soon. They may morph, how they're used, where they are in the network may change based upon who you are. But we really believe there's still going to be some sort of solution there that for us is called a FortiGate. And once you've got a FortiGate, you've got that controller.
I'm assuming that with things moving to cloud and stuff like that, and you saying that you're trying to have kind of parity across all of those things, I'm assuming then that's the end of the single cell architecture?
Yes, I can confirm that virtual cell is absolutely it has been consigned, yes, to the to history. It will have its place in history, with some people being big fans of it, others not being quite so big fans of it. I think that's fair to say. We're all honest here. We're all Wi-Fi professionals. Everybody at some point has had opinion on single channel architecture and virtual cell, but absolutely that's not something we're supporting moving forward. In fact, I think we said that on the last MFD as well. So yeah, we've unified behind a single code base, if you like, and really put our efforts behind this.
Yeah, I'll show a couple of slides on the LAN Cloud architecture, which is our cloud-based management platform, which offers zero-touch deployment, configuration management, reporting, analytics for our standalone AP and switches. So the FortiLAN Cloud can scale from a few handful of devices all the way up to thousands of devices across the vast number of sites. So in the FortiLAN Cloud architecture, the UTM or UTP, Unified Threat Protection Module, it still resides on SSID level, where you have all the option to enable each of the module and select all the signatures and based on the action you want to make. And we also have, for web application filtering, we also have some predefined categories. You can also modify them based on your requirement. And in terms of application control, we already have a predefined category set. You can change, modify, require based on how you want to proceed with actions. It can be allow, monitor, or block, etc. So let's get into the IPS filtering signature set. We do currently support around 6,000 plus signatures, and we do have all of them with categorized and based on the severity, service, etc. Application specific. You can filter them, make it into a profile, apply it onto a FortiAP profile so that it will get applied to a FortiAP or a managed AP. And then we have application signature, where you have all the signatures predefined, which is around 4,000 signatures, which we support currently on a cloud infrastructure. Okay, any questions?
Are your APs pulling a lot more power because of the CPU cycles it's having to use to do all of this stuff?
Yes, comparatively, when you have no UTM versus UTM, yes, the CPU cycles are a little higher on AP. But I would also comment saying we would be doing a much better in terms of performance, because we have our internal solution to make IPS engine a little lightweight by not compromising on the security functionalities, but doing it in a flow-based mechanism to make it more efficient.